Alright, what's up boys? It's Haithi. Discordia guide's finally here. Sorry it took so long. This guide was supposed to come out sometime last week, but I got kind of sidetracked with some stuff. Obviously, like the other guides, if you enjoyed it, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, share it to your friends, post it on Reddit, all that stuff. It helps me out a ton. Like, helping me grow in any way, shape, or form is amazing. I love you for it. Again, if you want to see certain things or you just have a question that you want answered right away, I try and stream every weekday, so you can come to my Twitch and just type out a question. I'll answer it right away. Any support on the Twitch is always amazing. But hope you guys enjoy the guide. Hope you learned something. Let's get right into it. Love you. Alright boys, like every other guide, I know a lot of you don't give a shit about the god's mechanics or how she works. You want to learn all that shit on your own. You just want to see a good build, and then you want to go mess around with her yourself. So we're gonna start the guide off with builds. Alright, so on Discordia, I like going a max cooldown build. I like getting max cooldown as fast as possible, just because her 2 and 3 with cooldown are fucking OP as fuck. So I start the build going Mage's Blessing, and here's where it gets iffy. If they have healing and you need to build Divine Ruin, I like going Magic Focus, into cooldown boots, into Divine Ruin, and where's the item I'm looking for? Oh, here it is. Into Chronos Pendant. These would be your first 3 items. If they don't have anti-heal or you don't plan on building anti-heal, I like going, where is it? I would go Lost Artifact level 1. First item, I'd get Power Boots instead of CD Boots. And then you'd finish off your Chronos Pendant, and then I'd go Spear Deso, alright? So your first 3 items, here's what I'd go if they have no healing that I need to negate. And then if they do have healing, I'd go this right here. Either way, you'll get max CDR in the first 3 items of your build. I'm just going to go off if they don't have anti-healing, or if they don't have the need for anti-healing, even though usually the enemy teams do. So we're going to go this build right here. Now after this, here's where you have to make another choice. If you're pounding really hard and you don't think you need more damage, you can go Coin, and then you can go Soul Reaver. But if you're pounding super hard and you want to pound even harder, I'd recommend getting Soul Reaver first, and then getting Ob Shard second. Usually you don't want to build Coin too far back because building stacks takes a long ass time. But realistically, if you got Coin here instead of Soul Reaver, instead of Shard, that's fine as well. But you want to get your 30% pen in these 2 item slots. Now last item, here's where you also get to make another really good choice. So on hit on Discordia is really good. So items like E-Staff are fucking amazing on her. So if you're just throwing out abilities and poking really hard, E-Staff is perfect for you. This item goes hard as fuck. If you just want raw burst damage to where you can try and one-shot a carry, I'd go last item Rod Tahuti, alright? If you want raw burst damage to one-shot a carry, but you need it faster, you don't want to save up as much gold, you can also go Soul Gem. So last item, I'd go E-Staff if you want to do better poke and better damage against tanks and better survivability, Rod Tahuti for raw burst, and Soul Gem for still really good burst, but just retriever, alright? So this would be the disco build, and then relics, beads, Aegis. If they have a lot of auto attackers that are looking to dive you, instead of Aegis, get, where is it? Upgraded shell. So here would be my Discordia build. Alright, the next thing we're going to go over is, oh shit, I should probably go get a movement speed pot on to make this easier. There you go. The next thing we're going to go over is Discordia's ability. Remember, this isn't going to be mechanics. I'll be in the mechanics section. This is just going to be what her kit does, what every single ability does in depth, so you know everything you need to know about the abilities, alright? If you feel like you already know everything there is to know, you can skip ahead to the mechanics section. But I still recommend watching this because there's always like 1 or 2 hidden things about a god that you may not have realized, alright? So the first thing we're going to go over is Discordia's passive, and then we're just going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4 in normal order, alright? So Discordia's passive is Contest of Gods, alright? So as you can see on my body, I have these like little white particle effects, I guess you can call them, they're like wind. In like the other skins, it'll have different effects, and then I have this buff on me right here called Contest of Gods. So what Discordia does is whoever on your team has top damage, she gives a power buff to that scales off her level. So if Discordia is level 20, you'll give more power than say Discordia was level 5. But this buff will go to whoever is top damage. So usually it'll go to your solo laner unless someone in like the early mid game, because they're like brawling all the time. But if you have like a really aggro dual lane that's just farming, maybe it'll go to them. But this buff will always go to whoever's top damage, and then you have your passive meter with a picture. This picture is just telling you who is top damage. So if I had a Ho Yi in my game, it'll have Ho Yi's portrait there if he was top damage. If I had a fucking Fenrir, it'd be Fenrir's picture if he would top damage. This picture right here is just to tell you who has your passive, and when you have Discordia's passive, it'll look like this on your buff bar. Alright, the next ability we're going to go over is Discordia's one, Unruly Magic. Yeah, I was right, epic. Alright, so here's a targeter for Unruly Magic. What Unruly Magic is Discordia throws out an orb, like an orb of magic in a straight line that does damage and passes through enemies and goes over walls. And when this orb reaches the destination where you throw it at, it's going to, oh god, excuse me, sorry. It's going to hover at its destination for like, I'd say half a second, and then explode into 6 smaller orbs. You can see on the targeter how there's 6 lines. It'll explode into 6 smaller orbs that'll bounce around and do damage. And these smaller orbs can bounce off walls. So like, let me just go to a random wall. Here, let me go here and I'll just throw my one out. Bounce the orbs, and then you see the orbs are bouncing off walls. You can get hit by multiple of the orbs, so if you're like really good with it, you can hit someone with the main orb and then all 6 of the smaller orbs, alright? But that's Discordia's one. Remember, it does go over walls and does pass through players, so I can shoot it through multiple people like that. I'll show you the stuff over here. So I can shoot it through multiple people like that, and the small little orbs go through multiple players as well. Alright, the next ability we're going to go over is Discordia's second ability, Strife. Yes, Strife. Dude, I'm so good at these names. Woo! So Strife's this giant rectangle, I guess you call it, that you can throw, you know, out in front of you or on top of you. And what Strife does is it channels on the ground for like half a second, and then it does damage and roots the enemies in it. So you throw it out, it does damage and roots. But if Strife has more than one enemy in it, instead of rooting both of them, it'll, I believe it's called torment both of them. So like a circuit too. It'll make them both run at each other and try and attack each other. So see that? They're both running at each other and trying to attack each other just as if they got hit by a circuit too. So it'll only do this if you hit 2 or more people. If you hit 1 person, it'll always just be a root. But any people more than 2, it'll do that. So even if you hit like 5 people, all 5 of them would be put into like this animation and trying to attack each other, alright? And that is Discordia's 2. I should mention, if I jump over here, it does go through walls. As you can see, I hit it. The next part of Discordia that I'm going to go over is her third ability, Erratic Behavior, right? So Erratic Behavior is a jump where you jump in front of you. It's a pretty short range jump, but it does go over walls. As you can see, I can cast it over walls. And what Discordia's jump does is you jump into a puff of smoke, I guess, a cloud of smoke in front of you. So you see this circle target, that's going to be the cloud of smoke. While inside the cloud of smoke, you are invisible. Unless, you know, you're auto-attacking or casting, that'll break you out of the invis. But you are invisible in this puff of smoke. And when you're also in the puff of smoke, you gain movement speed. And on top of that, your other cooldowns will go faster when go down faster when you're in the puff of smoke. So just using the ability, here's what it looks like. I'm in the smoke, I'm moving faster, and I'm invisible. But if I auto-attack, it breaks the invis. Oh, we'll wait for my cooldown to come back up. And remember, this is going to lower the cooldown of your 1 and your 2. Not your ultimate, but your 1 and your 2 when you're in the puff of smoke. So if I use my 1 and then I use my 2, as you can see, they're on long cooldowns. I'm in the puff of smoke, and you see they're both going down really fast. They're going down insanely fast. So it's a jump, a movement speed buff, invisibility, and a cooldown decreaser for all your other abilities. And that is Discordia's. I'll show you it going over walls once as well. Just like show you I'm not lying. Yeah, there you go. And also, this invisibility only works for you. It's not like New Wah Fog where your entire team can jump into it. It's only for you. Okay, the final ability we're going over is Discordia's ultimate, the Golden Apple of Discord. So what Discordia's ultimate does is it's a giant straight line skill shot that goes really fucking long, and can bounce off walls if you look at this. It can bounce off walls as many times as you want. As you can see, it's bouncing twice here. And what this ultimate does, it's a giant, like, decent moving skill shot that'll go in a straight line, and until it hits something or the dirt or like the length runs out. And when it hits someone, it'll do an initial amount of damage to them, and it'll cripple them for 2 seconds, and it'll tremble them for 2 seconds. Not intoxicate, doesn't make them drunk. For those of you that don't know, intoxicates and trembles are 2 different things. They're pretty similar, but they're not the same thing. So if you don't know what a tremble is, think Cabrakan 3. Think you're standing in Cabrakan 3. That's what it'll feel like CC-wise to get hit by Discordia Apple. So you get by tremble, a cripple, an initial burst damage, and then after 2 seconds of being trembled and crippled, it'll explode, doing more damage, and then spreading to all nearby enemies. So like if I hit this Odin bot, it could spread to either of these Odin bots, and then they'd take the initial burst damage, they'd be trembled and crippled for 3 seconds instead of 2, and then they'd take the explosion damage. Also, the initial burst damage is less than the explosion damage. So when I throw it and he gets hit by it, he'll take damage that's lower than at the end when it pops. Alright, now I'm going to show you what it looks like when you hit someone with it. So I ult him, he's crippled and trembled for 3 seconds, 2 seconds, then he's crippled, trembled for 3 seconds, alright? So if you saw that giant purple ring around him, that's the spread range. So this Odin was in the spread range, well this Odin wasn't. That's why this Odin didn't get affected, but this Odin did. Remember, the guy you initially hit is crippled and trembled for 2 seconds, and the guy you hit after is crippled and trembled for 3 seconds. Also, this is kind of irrelevant, but when you do get hit by the Golden Apple of Discord, you are forced to spam taunt, and you BGS, I'm the greatest, like this.
I'm a genius.
Like, your character will automatically do it. So that's just like a quick little thing. Also, if you guys want to get ear raped real quick, here's what happens when you have the apple spread to 6 different things at once. As you can see, they were all forced to spam taunt, and obviously I'm not on their team, so I can't see their VGS, but they would have VGS'd I'm the greatest. So that is Discordia's ultimate ability. Oh, and then it doesn't go through walls, obviously, because it bounces off walls. And here, I'll just show you what it bounces off. See, it bounces and hits them. Oh god, those are so loud. Alright, but that is Discordia's ultimate. Alright, the next thing we're going to go over is actually pretty important on Discordia, is her level order, alright? So level 1, you're going to always want to get your 1 in the very, very off 1% chance that some random team fight breaks out at level 1. Your 2 is better, but 99.9% of the time you're going to want to get your 1 at level 1. So level 1, level your 1. Level 2, you'd want to get your 2. Level 3, if you feel like you're going to be in a fighting scenario and you're going to need to get out, you can get your jump, but normally you can just get your 1 again. Level 4, you get your jump. Level 5, your ultimate. Level 6, you want to get your 1. Level 7, continue to max out your 1. Level 8, I like to hold a point. Level 9, I'd get your 1. And then I'd get your ult. Now here's where Discordia gets kind of different from most mages. Now normally you'd think, okay, you max your first damaging ability, now you max your second damaging ability, right? That's fine. If you want, from now, you can just go into maxing your 2 and then maxing your 3 last. But what some Discordia players like to do, which is perfectly fine and good, is they like to put 3 points into the jump. That way you get like this right here. You get the 1 second cooldown thing. So remember how I said if you're inside of Discordia's smoke cloud, your cooldowns get reduced faster? At rank 1 and 2, they don't get reduced that fast. But at rank 3, that's when you really get to feel it, because then you get cooldowns reduced by 3 seconds, by an entire second for every second you're in there. So what some Discordias like to do is they like to do this. So at level 10, they'd get their jump. At level 11, they get their jump. Then at level 12, they'd start maxing out their 2. Level 13, the apple. Level 14, the 2. Level 15, the 2. Level 16, the 2. Level 17, the ult. Level 18, the jump. Level 19, the jump. And then level 20, the ult. So doing that is good if you want that extra cooldown bonus on your jump, but if you don't care about that cooldown bonus, you just want to hit harder, you can just straight up max the 2 first and then worry about the jump. Either are fine. Alright boys, the next thing we're going to go over, hold up, let me just quickly buy one of these so I have movement speed. The next thing we're going to go over is Discordia's mechanics, or combos, all that stuff, alright? Before we start any of that, I want to show a quick little tidbit about Discordia. As you guys know with her 1, it goes out in a straight line, does damage, does a little bounce, and then explodes into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little balls, alright? Now normally, if you just throw out your 1, at max range, it's gonna pass through your target, and then it would explode over there, and then the balls would bounce over there. Now, this is kind of rare to happen in game, but if you were throwing your one at a CC target, you want to ideally throw the one on top of them, like this, right in the middle. That way they get hit by the initial circle, it'll do the bounce, and then they'll get hit by all of the smalls. So I'll show you it right now. Oh god, excuse me, sorry about that. So he gets hit by the initial, and then he gets hit by all the exploders. So look, we did 8 damage in total here, right? Oh god, I'm so sorry. My throat's fucking killing me today. Jesus. So he got hit by the initial tick, and then he got hit by 6, which would be 7 procs, and then you saw one of the smalls went over and hit that Odin bot. That's why it's at 8. But as you saw there, he got hit by the initial burst and all 6 ticks, so I threw it directly on top of him. All right. That's ideally what you want to do with your one, but in a real game, it's pretty unrealistic. Even with this Odin bot, if I throw it at him like this, you know, I hit him perfectly where he was, but then he's going to move out of it, all right? So it's pretty hard to do, but like if someone's ever CC'd, that's ideally what you want to do. Now for the rest of the combos, I'm just going to go back to instant casting because, you know, that's what I'm comfortable with. Now Discordia's 1v1 combo is pretty simple. There's nothing too much, there's no like secret mechanic, secret tip. It's basically hit everything and you kill, all right? So the way you do this combo, 2 ways. The first way is root, apple, 1, all right? That's your basic 1v1, you're just going for 1-person combo, all right? That's as basic as it gets. You start off with your root to guarantee the apple, and then you use your 1 while they're tremored by the apple. You can also start out with the apple if you're turning a corner. Say there's an Odin bot, say this Odin bot is walking out of this corner like this. Instead, I can start with apple, pick him off when he's not looking, and then throw it like that. Obviously, he's around this corner here, so I couldn't exactly hit him, but like if he was walking, you guys get the point. And then if you hit the apple like that, you just follow up with your 2 and then your 1. Be careful. I'm just gonna fucking buy a relic so this shit stops fucking popping on my screen. But like, remember, if you do that, the Odin will be trembled, so you gotta make sure that you can hit your 2 even while they're trembled, all right? Because remember, when someone's hit by your apple, they're going to be moving like this uncontrollably. So you can't just throw your 2 on top of them like that because they might move out of it, all right? And now Discordia's ideal combo in team fighting is a little different, still pretty straightforward, but a little different, all right? So ideally, what you want to do is you want to throw your apple into a bunch of enemies, like say they're randomly in a little corridor. You want to throw your apple down the corridor to hit 1, and then you want a 2, and then you want to follow up with your ult, all right? So I'm going to show you what that looks like. It's still pretty straightforward, nothing too much about it. So ult, 2, 1. The thing that makes, 1 second, let me wait for that to pop. The thing that makes this combo so good for team fighting is if this was an actual team fight, there were like 4 or 3 people here, one of them gets hit by the apple, and then I'll use my 2 on all of them to make them all start walking towards each other. And then because this guy is hit with the apple, and he's walking... Okay, don't miss the apple, all right? Okay, I suck, so don't do what I did. But normally, if this guy was hit with the apple in a team fight, and I 2 him with someone else, because they're walking towards each other, this guy will guaranteed get the apple spread. And if this was a real team fight, and there were like 4 people there, and I apple 2'd, you could potentially get a 5-man apple spread. Also, these guys are kind of, they're pretty spaced out, and they have DR on them, so my 2 isn't lasting too long. But normally when you 2, you can 1 in between and hit both of them with the 1 as well. That's usually what happens. These guys are DR'd and they're super far apart, so I can't. But normally you're able to apple, 2, have both of them get hit by the apple, and both of them get hit by the 2, all right? That's normally what happens. In this case, didn't, because they're super spaced out. But that's Discordia's ideal, you know, team fight combo. There's nothing too hard about this god's combos. It's mainly just click buttons and aim, all right? Now I want to talk about Discordia's jump, all right? So Discordia's jump, as I mentioned in the other parts of the video, when you're in this fog, all your other cooldowns go down by, depending on the rank of the ability, every 0.5 seconds they'll go down either 0.5, 0.75, 1, 1.5, and 1.5, right? So Discordia's jump is very potent. So what you can do is when you go to, let me take reduce cooldown off so you guys can see what I mean. Reduce cooldown off, and I'll buy Spear Deso and Chronos Pendant for max CD. So if I come over to this fire giant, I can 1, 2, dash, stand in my fog. Oh wait, I'm not level 20. Hold up, let me get to level 20. That's how I can actually show you guys. Where's set level 20? Here it is. Now I can show you guys what I mean. So whenever you're doing an objective, you can 1, 2, stand in your fog, kite around in the fog, 1 again, 2 again, walk, throwing autos in between, 1 again, and then your 2 could be up by now. I messed up a little and walked out of the fog a little, so my 2 wasn't up. But that's the ideal combo. So instead of 1, 1 and 1, 2, if you stand in your fog, you get 3 1s and 3 2s out on the fire giant and the gold tier. That'll work for both these objectives. In team fights as well, usually as a mage, you never want to use your escape unless you're using it to like get away from their dive or peel yourself. But if a fight's like steamrolling in your direction, what you can do is you can jump in, 2, 1, kite around in your fog, your 2's back up, 1's back up, kite around again, 2's back up, 1's up again. All right, you get what I mean? So your jump is a very powerful mechanic for when you're chasing down, because you can jump and get 2 casts of your 1 and 2 off with no CD, all right? Like, look how fast these come up. But the other part about our jump is how to use it defensively. When you jump as Discordia defensively, you want to never stand still. You want to always be kiting in your fog. If a jungler jumps on you, they're going to try and predict where you are. If you just stand still, they're going to beat your ass. So you got to be like juking around. If you do this, you can stand on the edge. You can walk to the very edge of the fog. Like, look, if you see that, I'm basically out of the fog, but I'm still invisible. So you can try and do that. Let me go get reduced cooldown again. That's not very hard to do. You just slowly walk to the edge of the fog. There it is. But like, you always want to be moving in this fog. Remember, you have increased movement speed in this fog as well. So having the enemy jungler or warrior, whoever's diving to hit you, is super difficult for them. So always keep moving. Never stop moving. Another thing about Disco is if someone dives you and they're not full HP, you can fog. They're going to jump after the fog. Then Apple 1, 2. Apple 1, 2 plus auto attacks will do like 90% of someone's health. If they're not at 100% health to start the engagement, you will one-shot them. Discordia has a lot of damage, a lot of damage, all right? So you always want to be looking to like jump into your fog, run around, never stand still. Standing still in your fog is a sin. Remember, if you throw auto attacks or cast abilities, it will break your invisibility. So remember to be conservative with that, but always move around in your fog. The next thing I want to talk about is Discordia's playstyle. So I'm gonna go over this a lot more in the Conquest section of the guide, where I say like how to play Disco in Conquest. But the number one thing that Disco does is she's kind of like the beads police, all right? So she's always gonna go around checking people on their beads, all right? So if a carry ever gets hit by your 2, the taunt part, like this shit, they either beads or they die. Obviously, I have 3 items instead of 6, so I can't kill these niche bots. But normally, you know, they would have, I would have 6 items and they would die. Oh my god. Oh. Dude, they 2v1. Oh, I got her though. They 2v1 me. That's unfair. But like, normally you always want to be looked to hitting your 2 on carries. Because if your carries don't bead your 2 and they get taunted into someone, your 2 plus your 1 will literally one-shot them. They will get railed by it. They'll get fucked up so hard. So you always want to look to 2-1 people, alright? You want to go around, going around corners, like looking here, just try and 2 people and then 1 them off guard to force their beads or their Aegis. Discordia is amazing at anti-siege and amazing at forcing relics, just because her 2 combo is so potent. This shit, like look at this. I'm 3 items and I almost one-shot these niche bots because of how good my 2-1 combo is on multiple people, alright? So you want to go around pressing 2-1 people over and over and over to force their beads. Alright, next we're going to go over how to play Disco level 1 on Conquest, and then how to just play her in Conquest in general, so let's head right into that. Alright guys, now we're going to go over level 1 Discordia in Conquest. We're going to get the build we talked about, Mage's Blessing, Lost Artifact, 1 health, 2 mana, and then I'm going to get my relics, and I'm just going to get the speed pot just because, you know, just because I'm not slow, alright? So normally, I'm a few seconds late coming out of base, but normally you'd stand right here, you'd throw your 1 over the wall to leash your jungler, you'd make your way all the way to mid lane, And you know, I am level 20, so I'm gonna like do a lot more damage to these minions than you guys. But by the time you get here, your one would be back up, so you can won the wave. Then after you won the wave and you auto attack it down to finish clearing it, you're gonna want to come to your smalls. At level 2, you can level up your 2, and then you come to your smalls, and then you'd 2, and then one the smalls, and then you come back to mid, and then you do your normal, you know, mid lane thing. Alright, and that's how to play Discordia level 1. Alright boys, now we're gonna go over how to play Discordia in Conquest. We're gonna go over those anti-siege mechanics I talked about. Discordia is super strong in anti-siege. What that means is when their enemy is like here or here or here, and they're sieging your phoenixes, so they want to take your phoenixes, you are really strong, and that's because of your second ability, Strike. So you want to go to your fountain. 1 second, boys. Let me sell my inventory, sell my pots, and buy a sentry ward. So you want to go to your fountain, buy a sentry ward. Then if you were, they were sieging here, you'd sentry ward here. If they're sieging here, you'd sentry ward here. If they're sieging here, you choose which side you want sentry ward. You sentry ward, that way they can't ward this area. And then you just want to stand here and look to 2-1 people over and over. Just 2-1 them to stop them from being able to siege. Remember, if a carry gets hit by your 2-1, they have to beads, or else they are going to die. But if a non-carry gets hit by him, a tank, you'll still half health them, you know? So if I'm over here, let me go back to the position. If I'm right here and their tanks are walking up, not even their carries, and I 2-1 their tanks are going to lose at least 30% of their health. So you are an anti-sieging machine because your damage can be sent from so far away. And on top of that, if you're over here, you can throw your apple and bounce it off this wall into this area right here where they're going to be sieging, and you can hit them all with the apple, alright? So Discordia and anti-siege is super, super strong. You want to look to just fucking 2 people and 1 them over and over, half healthing them or forcing their relics. You don't have to only look for carries when you're in anti-siege mode. You can look for tanks as well and just poke out their tanks, alright? Poking people out is really strong. If someone's tank is half health, that means they can't siege. Then at Fire Giant, you don't want to stay in the same spots as every other mid laner. Behind this rock, you want to look for poke over here. Or you'd stand behind this rock right here and look for poke over here. Vice versa. Same thing goes for mid. If you can stand right here and look for poke, that's good. If you can stand right here, the enemy team comes to pull mid camp for 2-1 them. That's really strong. So Discordia and Conquest, it's pretty straightforward. This god's all about just hitting your abilities. And if you're hitting your abilities, you're going to do fine. You just got to remember, her anti-siege here, here, and here is amazing. At the end of the day, you just want to be looking for big 2s. Your 2 is one of your strongest ability. If you hit more than 1 person with your 2, you are going to kill them or force their relics. So always look for that. Your 2 is super strong. And don't disrespect your apple. Your apple does a lot of damage. So if you 2 someone, just apple them, 1 them, and they either have to back or they're going to die off that. So don't be afraid of using your apple just to force people to base, alright? So that is Discordia in Conquest. Well, boys, that was a Discordia guide. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Remember, anything you want to see, come to my Twitch channel. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. If you enjoyed the video, share it with your friends, post it on Reddit, all that stuff. Helping me grow helps a lot. Helps me dedicate a lot more time to this stuff. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a good day. I love you, boys. I'll see you later. Goodbye.